Hey guys, we're coming to the end of Shemoth now. We've only got 1 or 2 episodes left, and I mean that's the end of Exodus. I mean, I know Leviticus kind of continues on as a part 2 really, so there's not really a big shift between Shemoth and Wayikra, or Exodus and Leviticus. There's not really a big shift of focus there. It's just continuing on with instructions about how Yahushua feels we should live. Clean living, if we want him in us, if we want to have him within us, within our camp, if we want to be protected and blessed and make it to the wedding feast, then we have to live a certain way. Not because we have to earn our deliverance. We have to, go and sacrifice animals and bulls and make that legal sacrifice. No, not at all. But we do have to behave in such a way and prepare these vessels to be transformed. Prove to Yahushua that we want him, like a bride would, preparing for her wedding day. It's not about, I've been delivered by the blood of the Lamb, so that's it. Yahushua's done it all for me and I don't have to do anything. Well, I wouldn't be marrying somebody like that. Somebody who's just sitting all the way back there at the start, doing nothing. I'd be going for a bride that's running her race, running the race with endurance. And if she stumbles and trips over, she gets back up and keeps running because she knows what's at the end. She has this great hope and expectation of to see her bridegroom, to see Yahushua coming in the clouds, to be delivered, to have her body transformed in the twinkle of an eye. That's the path that we're on, guys, this redemptive path. So we've been talking a lot about what's set apart and what's common. Of course, talking about behavior. We've been talking a lot about darkness and light. This world is dark, and Yahushua is the light. He comes into us and starts burning us. Do you face that? Or do you think this is a lovely, wonderful Pentecostal experience? Singing and tongue talking and waving your hands around and having a lovely, superficial, fellowship with people. I just want fellowship. So many people say, I just need fellowship. Why? What do you need fellowship for? People are a pain in the ass. Yahushua is what you want to go for. Go for Yahushua. And you won't need anybody else. It's amazing. Go for that, guys. In this episode today, we're coming into the golden calf. Moshe's finally coming off the mountain. And how many chapters has he been up on the mountain? We've had the wedding vows, the 10 words. We've had the instructions for the feasts and the Shabbat and the tabernacle and the priests, and how everything's supposed to be set up so that Yahushua can come among them and dwell among them. That's the whole point, remember? I want to cast your minds back though to when we did the episode on the wilderness, the temptations, the complaints, the testing in the wilderness. Because this episode here, this part of scripture, Yeshua really shows their true colors. It's not a matter of complaining about the provision. I'm a bit sick of this food. When are we going to get some water? Can't you even provide for us? We were better off in Egypt. We might have been slaves, but at least we knew where our meals were coming from. At least we didn't have to trust or believe in anybody. And they're just giving Moshe and Aaron a hell of a time. And there's bitch whinging and complaining in Yahushua's face after all that amazing deliverance experience. The plagues and the Passover lamb and the coming through the Red Sea. And now they're whinging and complaining. And Yahushua comes this close to just wiping them out. But now they're going to go even further because they've had it now. We're not even going to wait or complain. We're just going to do our own thing. And a dog goes back to its vomit, scripture says. So whatever you have been raised in or familiar in, whatever idolatry, sexual perversions, kinks, and things you were into growing up, coming out of the world, out of Egypt, is exactly where the enemy is going to want to send you back. Because it's all different for all of us. We've all come out of many sort of different affairs and perversions. So just know that the enemy wants you to go exactly back to the exact same behavior, just like a dog goes back to its own vomit. Not someone else's vomit, your own vomit. Dog goes back to its own vomit. So This golden calf that they're about to build is Yisrael going back to their vomit, because this is what they did. This was what was acceptable behavior and how they worshipped in Egypt. It wasn't just some great idea, why don't we just pull a bull, design a bull, or carve a bull. They didn't just have some epiphany. This was exactly, they just went straight back to the worship they did in Egypt. So, but we'll go into that. So, here's a picture, the golden calf. Can we celebrate the same festivals of the nations if we do them unto Yahusha? Remember that question. That's going to be relevant very soon. Can we celebrate the same festivals of the nations? Can we behave and do exactly what the nations do, even though we claim we're worshipping Yahusha? Oh, it's okay because we're doing it to Yahusha. We believe in Yahusha. Yeah, it's okay to do birthdays because we're doing it, we honour Yahusha, who never told us to honour birthdays. In fact, that's a pagan, satanic witchcraft, So one of their most powerful days, the witches, your birthdays. But all of them mean something. Anyway, let's go on. So we've just come from all that writing, that red writing, little red writing of Yahusha, explaining everything he wants. Because we're right in the middle, smack bang in the middle of the marriage ceremony, guys. He's delivering the vows, delivering the instructions, how you must live if you want to be in marriage covenant, blood covenant with me. So right in the middle of this marriage covenant, what does Yisrael do? Set the scene. Imagine, if you will, a bride and a groom, getting married, and vows are being spoken. Do you take this man? Do you take this woman? Yes, I do. I will cherish, love, and all those things, baloney they do at the altar and the big circuses and everything. But imagine it, a man and a woman are standing there, looking wonderfully into each other's eyes, lovey-dovey, at the altar. And the bride just excuses herself for a minute to go off to the side room. And after a while, the groom wonders, where's she gone? And he goes and opens the door, and she's having an orgy with the groomsman and 3 of his mates. There's a big heated orgy going on, and the groom walks in on it. How does the groom feel? I set that up, I explained it like that because this is what's exactly about to happen. In our last episode, I explained how excited Yahusha was. So much optimism and hope, and just so elated at his instructions. If you do this, if you do that, if you wear this garment, if you put the wood there and the strings and string it all together and burn the sacrifice there and wash and come in, A, B, C, D. If you do all this, then I can come in. Boom. This is the secret of me coming within you. This is the secret. If you do all this according to the pattern, I can be there. Finally, after 2,000 years plus, I can be among my people for their benefit and for his benefit, because he wants a family. So right in the middle of this explanation, let's shoot down the mountain and see what's going on there. Ready? When the people saw how long it was taking Moshe to come back down the mountain, because he'd been there about 40 days, so when they saw how long it was taking Moshe to come back down the mountain, they got extremely impatient and mobbed around Aaron, saying, stuff this waiting around, Aaron. It's been 40 days, for goodness sake. Come on, make us a deity, some other mighty one who can lead us. Moshe's just buggered off and could be dead for all we know. So give us relief and let us worship. I can't function without worshipping. Mankind cannot function without worshipping. It's how we are created, to acknowledge something that's greater or higher than ourselves. All mankind does it. Even atheists who claim that they worship and behave according to a certain pattern which gives honour to a certain being. And it's either good or evil. So everybody is programmed to worship. So these guys have been waiting around for 40 days. Stuff this, Aaron. Make us a deity, for goodness sake. Moshe's buggered off and could be dead for all we know. So give us some relief and let us worship. And Aaron, who didn't seem to put up much of a fight, said, fine, all of Yisrael is to take the gold rings from the ears of their wives and sons and daughters and bring them to me. Didn't put up a fight, did he? Didn't have a few rounds with them. No, come on, just guys, just a couple more days, guys. Just wait. Moosh will come back. Just wait. So what did it show you about what he was thinking as well? He was just waiting for the first opportunity to do it as well. So give us all your earrings and fine gold, all that jazz. And all the people took the gold rings from their ears and brought them to Aaron, who took the gold, melted it down and molded it into the shape of a calf. What did Aaron do? He took the gold, he melted it down, and he molded it into the shape of a calf. And when the people saw it, they cheered and shouted, "Yes, this is our mighty Elohim Yahuwah, the one who brought us out of the land of Egypt." So something interesting has gone on there. They didn't just start calling this deity by what they did in Egypt. It could have been Apis, it could have been Hathor, it could have been, you can go into all that Egyptian mythology if you want to get all those details. But the point is that they didn't start crying out to this deity's name, did they? They built a bull, a calf, but they were crying out to Yahuwah. So they're worshipping Yahuwah through the image of a bull. So they've come a little bit out of Egypt, haven't they? Because they're now acknowledging Yahuwah, and they're acknowledging the fact that they should be worshipping Yahuwah. However, they're worshipping him like he's a deity, like he's made of gold, like he's an idol. So you can understand, I'm not excusing their behavior, I'm just trying to work out what on earth were they thinking. Because mankind is programmed to worship, so they thought, okay, well, they're riddled with idolatry still, and this is how the Egyptians worship. Remember all the plagues that Yahusha sent on Egypt were all to destroy the mindset, the strongholds, the idea that these deities had any kind of power. He was breaking down the mindset that these deities existed at all. They don't. Look, I've just destroyed this. This deity is supposed to be protecting that. Boom, it's destroyed. So, where are we? The one who brought us out of the land of Egypt. This is our mighty Yahuwah, the one who brought us out of the land of Egypt. And when Aaron saw how excited the people were, he built a huge stone altar in front of the calf and announced, "Tomorrow will be a festival to Yahuwah." So he's jumped on the bandwagon and he's going for it as well. I'm a little bit rusty. Let's have a look here. I've written it all here. The golden calf was the image of Horus, often a falcon or a calf. Remember all the different deities in Egypt? Which of course come from Babylon. All religion comes from Babylon. Evil worship and disobedience doesn't come from Babylon, but the whole idea of setting up actual deities and idols and, gods and goddesses, all that sort of stuff, that comes from Babel. That's when it became official through Nimrod. So the golden calf was the image of Horus, or which is often a falcon or a calf, one of the deities Israel worshipped in Egypt. But they didn't declare a feast to Apis, Horus, or Hathor, did they? They were still declaring the name of Yahuwah, but mixing and attaching their pagan idolatry to the pure name of Yahusha, a behavior he despises. He despises taking his light, his goodness, and his name, which is involved in that. You are your name is who you are, and mixing it with darkness, mixing it with evil, taking something that's good and mixing it with evil. So in one sense it shows that they were at least acknowledging him, but in another sense it shows that it was even worse, because at least before they weren't acknowledging him, at least before they were just evil. Now they're trying to mix good with evil. They're trying to bring him, they're trying to excuse their behavior by bringing him into it. This is a feast to Yahusha, You can see the picture over there. The Apis bull was the most sacred deity in all of Egypt. So they seem to say that about every deity, don't they? The snake, the serpent was the most sacred one. Now it's the bull, Every commentary you read says there's a different deity that was the most important. Either way, that's not the point of what I'm getting at. You can do all your studies on Egyptian mythology if you want to be obsessed with that. I'm not anymore. I've read enough. It's a bit boring to me now. It all comes from Babel and it all comes from Satan. Let's cut the corners. If you're not worshipping Yahusha, how he tells you to worship him and behave, how he tells you to behave, you are obedient to Satan. So let's bypass all the deities. There's books and books and books been written about that. I'll save you the next few months of reading and say that it's all witchcraft, which is idol worship, which is spiritual fornication, and adultery, which is satanic worship. You are either worshipping Yahusha or you're worshipping Satan. The age-old battle of good and evil. So, what I will, let's go down to the next picture. There's another interpretation of the bull there in that picture. They're having a big celebration and an orgy. And in the faint letters there I've put Christmas, Easter, birthdays, Halloween, Valentine's. I mean, depending on what country you're in, there are dozens and dozens and dozens more of them. But these are the main big ones that as a planet globally everybody celebrates. Some people have come out of Christmas, some people have come out of Easter, some people don't do birthdays, some people have come out, some religions have come out and don't do them, but they do all these other things to replace them, you know. They're not doing the 10 words, are they? They're not following the marriage vows. The last 3 or 4 episodes we've just made. So keep in mind those festivals I've just listed there, because they come close to home for us, because in our westernized first world countries, these are a big deal. Plus lots of others, and I'll go into that. So the people got up early. What are they doing? The Aaron's announced there's a festival to Yahuwah tomorrow. So the people got up early the next morning to sacrifice burnt offerings. They're even sacrificing burnt offerings and peace offerings to Yahuwah, their golden calf. And after this, they celebrated with feasting and drinking, and they indulged themselves in pagan debauchery, sexual orgy, fornication behavior. The original Hebrew implies that. It said they sat down to, what does it say? They sat down to eat and drink, and then they rose up to play. And the Hebrew word for play means sexual behavior, orgy behavior. That's what it means. You can look all that up if you want, but that's what it means. So they're offering burnt offerings and peace offerings, which Yahushua taught them to do. And after this, they celebrated with feasting and drinking, and they indulged themselves in pagan debauchery, sexual orgy, fornication behavior, just like Egypt did. Remember, their priests did all their services mainly in the nude, and it was all very sleeky, seductive lust, you know. And remember, this appeals to them, because how does Satan come to us? What are the 3 ways that Satan comes to us? We learnt a few episodes ago. The lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh, and the pride of life. Those 3 things. They wanted something to make them feel good. They wanted something that they could look at that was just bling, 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 golden calf that made them look good. And they were taking control of their own worship and their own future. This is Yahuwah. He's our deity. He's going to go before us and lead us through this wretched wilderness. They were taking control. And that's the world today, isn't it? The whole humanistic movement. Even religions are the same. They claim that they're worshipping a higher deity of some sort, but they're actually just worshipping the same as they've always done for thousands of years. It's all about me, 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 me. What I want, what I feel, you know, what I can see and what I want to have. So let's have a look here in the turquoise background. Their bodies had been cleansed, but their hearts still contained the filth of Egypt. Bring the behaviors out here, guys. We're talking about wanting light to mix with darkness. We're talking about Yahushua's people, which is us, being set apart from all this common, not just common evil. There's common everyday behavior that's not good, and then there's evil as well. So their bodies had been cleansed, just like ours have been. But our hearts still contained the filth of Egypt. And it was from the Egyptian idols that they melted down and formed this golden calf. Got that? It wasn't just the jewelry, they melted down. They melted down other idols that they brought from Egypt to make this golden calf. Their mouths declared Yahushua, but their behavior was a hideous stench to him. Their mouths declared Yahushua, but their behavior was a hideous stench. what you proclaim out of your mouth and your behaviour, is it the same thing? Or is it a hideous stench to Yahusha? Putting the familiar faces of Apis, Hathor and Horus onto Yahusha, they simply changed the name of their deity and worshipped in the exact same dirty manner as they'd done in Egypt. So they were behaving and worshipping exactly the same way, they just changed the name. Alarm bells should be going off now when you think about Emperor Constantine and what's gone on in history, what we know about the Shabbat day and about all the pagan festivals the world acknowledges today. When we run to other people, teachers, self-help books or false idols, when we're feeling anxious and worried about our lives, we are doing the exact same thing that Israel did with the golden calf. Let's bring it close to home. When we run to other people, when we look to a man or a woman, when we look to someone else, when we run to other people, teachers, self-help books or false idols, when we're feeling anxious and worried about our lives, we're doing the exact same thing that Israel did with the golden calf. When we run to our favourite TV show, when we run to our favourite venue, when we run to our favourite novel or book or favourite drug of choice, when we run to our favourite comforter. This makes sense? These are what golden calves, these are what idols are. Things that we put above Yahusha. Things that we crave and we're passionately lusting after. It's all about lust, isn't it? And we either lust after Yahusha, because lust itself is not a bad word. We're either lusting, desperately wanting, yearning, desiring with heavy breathing, remember? We're either wanting that, panting towards Yahusha, wanting him, or we are wanting the world. What's familiar to us? Oh, we love Yahusha and we want to obey Yahusha. We say it with our words, and then when times get tough, we run. We get drowned in the bottle. We look and we get caught up in the lusts of the internet, in the pornographic, orgiastic behaviour that's going on in the world. That might be where you came from. That might be, or you might do it maybe there's brothels, maybe there's prostitutes, maybe there's, who knows what your vices are and the vomit that you came from. But whatever that vomit is, the enemy wants you to turn around and go back to it. Because it's a lovely, wonderful, it's like a warm blanket lust, isn't it? It takes you back and you feel wonderful. I can relax, I'm taking care of myself here, I don't have to worry about anybody else. This is something, that's what evil is. It's warm, it's not all sinister and ugly evil. Evil appears as a beautiful thing, alluring, come and look at this. And it always starts very innocently. Oh, it's okay, just have a glance. It's okay, just have a drink or a smoke, or just have whatever your vice is, just a touch, it's okay. No one's watching, don't worry. Shh, it's our secret. But it goes further and further, deeper and deeper. The swill, the downward spiral into the vomit. That's what evil wants for you, because if you are bringing evil into your tabernacle, into your dwelling place, then will Yahusha show up? I'm not saying he will leave you, because he promises never to leave us or forsake us. I'm not saying he will take his ruach from you, but do you want him as much as you could have him? Do you want that? I mean, if you say, no, I'm done with this, see you, Yahusha, I want the world, yeah, he'll withdraw. But if he can see that you are on a pathway, I'm making these videos to encourage you to keep going. This golden calf, we're all in the golden calf, guys. Everything in the world today is the golden calf. We are out there amongst it all day, every day, particularly at this time of year. What's the date today? The 29th of December. A few days ago it was Christmas. In a couple of days it's New Year's Eve. Fireworks. Oh, let's go. It's like babies that have never seen lights fly up in the sky before. It's like, it's just coloured lights. And we stare there, we spend millions and millions and millions of dollars staring at the sky, at pretty lights. It's like animals or, infants. It's like, what could those millions and millions of dollars been done more useful? How could they have been spent more usefully? So Can you understand that? I'm not saying you can't have a drink. I'm not saying you can't watch a movie. I'm not saying you can't chill out with Netflix and, you know, just relax after a hard day, kick your feet up with a beer or whatever you want to do. I'm not saying you can't do those things. I'm talking about the lusting, yearning, desiring of things that are of the world, you know? Are you so obsessed with lust and so obsessed with TV shows that you'll just stare at whatever comes in front of you? Or are you with 𝗪𝗓𝗄? Well, you do everything. You change channels if it's inappropriate, fast forward when it's inappropriate. You know, there's nothing wrong with, I mean, look at what the Marvel universe has done. Iron Man and Thor, Captain America, and all these billion-dollar franchises that are now in the world, they are all modeled off Greek and Roman gods and goddesses, mythology. Does that mean we shouldn't be having anything to do with them either? Well, there's a difference between watching a movie and going, oh, that was pretty cool, and you know, camping out all night to get the first tickets. This is what people do. My sons are into all the YouTube clips and the commentaries and the behind the scenes, and the people are obsessed with it. They're recording commentaries of their own on top of these movies, and they're going out to conventions, you know, Comic-Con conventions, and dressing up in their favorite characters and going and passionate and writing hateful letters to the directors and producers of these movies. You shouldn't have killed off that character, and you shouldn't have done this, and they're so into it. This is their life. There's a difference between that and just watching a movie and then going on to the next one. You know, there's a difference between observing things and being so obsessed with it. Football games, sporting matches. There's a difference between, you know, flicking over and watching the sporting game, which I can't stand either, but many people do, to going and painting your faces and going, yeah, like the Colosseum. Yeah, pack of savages kicking a ball around, smashing each other to death. It's just, this is the world. Entertainment. Entertainment is where it's at now. And as much entertainment as you can get within the four walls of your home, through your phone and through your devices, without having to communicate with anybody at all. So it's even extra devious now, because you don't even need anybody to provide anything for you. You don't even have the shame of knowing that somebody else might know what you're up to. You just do everything yourself now. It's all in the four corners of your bedroom or of your TV realm of, do you know what I'm saying? That's how unsociable the younger generations coming up are. That's how controlled the lust is. Anyway, I'm ranting a lot here, but I just want you to know I'm just bringing the whole golden calf worship into the 21st century. In context. I'm not saying you have to leave your jobs, your homes, you know, smash your TV set, pour your alcohol down the drain. I'm not saying you have to be some weird cosmic hippie up under a tree doing something weird. I'm not saying you have to separate yourselves physically from the world. We are separated inwardly from the world. And you'll find after a while that most of these movies and most of these occasions and things that you used to get involved in, going down to the pub and slaughtering yourself, or going out night clubbing and dancing all night, and you know, there's a difference between listening to some cool music and going out and slaughtering yourself all night. You see what I'm saying? It's about behavior. The common things can become evil if we lust after them, we yearn after them. Or am I just making excuses? You're just making excuses, Mark. You just want to keep watching movies and eat junk food. Is that what I'm doing here? Not at all. I'm saying I'm trying to make the golden calf more real to you in the 21st century, because it surrounds us everywhere. And even if you did separate yourselves physically from all the things of the world, it's still here, because unclean spirits are all around us, tempting us and doing everything. So the way to do it is inwardly. Keep bringing the light in. But this is a big help, I've found, to say, no, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not going to look at that, because that's it involves nakedness and sexuality. I'm not going to look at that. I'm not going to go to those sort of places, look at those sort of things. It's putting a stake in the ground and saying, no, I'm not going past that. I'm not going there. I'll watch some cool movies when I've got the time. You know, I'll do this, I'll do that, but I'm not going to get involved with any of that lusting after things. Covetous lusting, possessive behavior. That's what we dealt with episodes ago, remember? This is the worship, the behavior that 𝗪𝗓𝗄 hates. Do not have any idols in my face. In other words, there aren't any other, so you must be worshipping evil. The things you're looking at, the footy games and the actors and the celebrities and the gossip and all the social media, the Facebook, let's go there, Facebook, Instagram, this social media, Snapchat, TikTok, everything that you're plugged into, that's not real. You think you're worshipping and honouring and being involved with those things, but those things aren't real. They're all unclean spirits. That's why he's saying, have no other deities in my face. Not because he's saying, I don't like them and I'm jealous. It's because he's saying, they don't exist. They're not real. That's Satan tricking you into honouring that one so that your crops will be safe, honouring that one so your house, honouring that one so your river, honouring that one so your cows will be safe. And he came and he slaughtered them all through the plagues to say, look, they don't exist. When did they fight back? When? Yahushua could just go, and the whole internet could go dark. Imagine our lives without the internet, without our smartphones. Even all our banking is hooked up to it these days. Yahushua could go like that and it would go. That huge deity called social media and the internet. Would it fight back? Would that deity fight back? Would that golden calf fight back? No, because it doesn't exist. Mankind would fight back and try and get it back up and running. But I'm just talking figuratively here. They're not real. It's all Satan controlling the masses to keep them dull. You don't have to look at all the conspiracy theories about the the crop dusting and the fluoride in the water and all this. Facebook's full of it nowadays. All the food and all the diseases and all this and all that. The enemy wants to kill the world. The billionaires, trillionaires, the oligarchy wants to kill the poor demographic because there's too many over consumers where the world has got too many people in it. So where have I gone in that? Who knows? Find my way back to the text. So we are doing the exact same thing. When we run to other people, teachers, self-help books, false idols, we are doing the exact same thing that Israel did with the golden calf, going back to something comfortable. Vomit. It was Israel's need for visible proof that Yahushua was with them, that drove them to commit this gross idolatry. And Yahushua is well aware that we need visible reassurance and evidence that he is with us and loves us. He's well aware of that. And that's why he provided the tabernacle. He didn't need it for himself, and he certainly didn't need human hands to build it, did he? The tabernacle was created entirely for Yisrael's reassurance that he was with them. I know I've gone on a lot about this in the last few episodes, saying he wanted this to be with his people. That's how he feels. But he could have done it himself. The whole point was preparing mankind, training them and getting their characters to a certain point where he could mix with them, be his bride, So, look at us now in the 21st century. Are we ready to be consummated? Are you ready to be consummated? Are you ready to go any moment? What did you do yesterday? How was your behaviour on the weekend? What did you look at last night? Where did you go? Who did you hang out with? How did you treat people? Because that's what it's all about, behaviour and lifestyle. Are you ready to go? Are you really ready? Oh, you say you're Yahushua's bride, but are you ready to be Yahushua's bride? Or have you, like me, still got more training to undergo? So Yahushua understands that we need visual reassurance. That's why he gave us the tabernacle. That's why he comes within us now. That's why he makes himself known within us. But the problem is, the idiot teachers out there won't tell you that he makes himself known within you. It's all just sweet and lovely messages of writing it on our hearts and all this scriptural dialogue. It's just kick out the scriptural dialogue that was 5,000 years old and speak normal, will you? Speak normal. Why do I feel like shit? Why do I feel like this? I feel hideous. Why? Can you tell me why? Oh, he's writing the commandments on your heart. What the hell does that mean? He's bringing the inner man out of you and the older man. How does that help me? When will they tell you that Yahushua's come into you and he hates your friggin' behaviour? So change your behaviour and you'll feel better. Stop doing this and stop doing that. If you feel like crap, then get rid of that. Know yourself. When did you start feeling like that? What did you think about? What did you do? What did you think? What did you say? What did you do? Trace you that know yourself. When did you start feeling bad? That's what you did. I thought this. Okay, well, you shouldn't have thought that. Who was that thought from? Yahushua or a demon? I said this. Well, why did you say that? Every word comes from a thought. It all comes from thoughts. That's why the scripture says, check your thoughts. Arrest every thought and check it with the word. Check it with Yahushua. Check your words, check your thoughts before you let them out of this hideous hole in your face. Check everything. Nobody will tell people this, will they? The believers are out in bloody misery all the time and thinking that Yahushua's left them, and they're not aware that Yahushua understands that we need visual reassurance. Well, this reassurance may not be visual, but it bloody hurts. It hurts, doesn't it, when you do the wrong thing, say the wrong thing, think the wrong thing, look at the wrong thing, be in the wrong crowd, movement. It hurts. So instead of thinking that Yahushua's left you and you're just attacked by demons, oh, it's all demons, it's demons, it's demons, I'm being attacked by demons, I bind you, demons. What are you talking to demons for? You don't have the right to talk to demons. You're not allowed to talk to demons. You're not Yahushua. You don't talk to demons. Ignore them. Have nothing to do with them. Ignore them. It's not demons that you should be focusing on, it's Yahushua. He's the one giving you all this fire. The fire, the light of his presence. He's found you worthy enough to put a down payment if you've repented, cried out to the name of Yahushua, been immersed in the name of Yahushua in water. If you've done that, he's found you worthy to put a down payment of his ruach into your common vessel, to breathe life into you, to bring a shared essence to him so that he will start coming. Your heart will start beating for him. And it's real. It's a real experience. You can be sitting in a room by yourself. You do something wrong, say something wrong, think something wrong, look at something, do anything wrong, and you'll feel it. You'll feel the knives, you'll feel the whips. This is the Hebrews. If you don't believe me, read Hebrews chapter 12. Hebrews chapter 12. All right? Read it. It's true. So that we will produce the right behaviour, the fruits of right behaviour. Let's go on. Oh, we've got a stained glass window now. I mean, the state of the body is what drove me, I believe, to start making these videos and retranslating these scriptures, because I just got so fed up with the behavior and particularly the teachers giving a certain impression about Yahushua and his word, his wonderful, amazing word, and what life is like with Yahushua in you. So either they're hiding something or they just don't know him like this. They're just not having the experience. They'll put their hands out for this though, won't they? But they don't know him, like they're not having this experience. Obviously. So Yisrael is worshipping the golden calf. Then Yahushua said to Moshe, quick, go down the mountain now, for your people who brought you out of Egypt have corrupted themselves. Yahushua has already disowned Yisrael for breaking their marriage covenant with him and committing adultery with another deity. How do we know he's disowned them already? Look, quick, go down the mountain now, for your people. They're not my people anymore. That doesn't sound like something Yahushua would say, is it? He's constantly trying to get, we've talked so many episodes about the people focusing on Moshe all the time and what Moshe did and what instead of looking to Yahushua. And now Yahushua said, your people. They're not my people. Look at what they're doing. They're not my people. Your people, who you brought out of Egypt, have corrupted themselves. So Yahushua has already disowned Yisrael for breaking their marriage covenant with him and committing adultery with another deity. It didn't take them long to turn away from the way I commanded them to live. They have melted down all their gold and made a calf, and they are bowing down and sacrificing to it. They are saying, this is our mighty one, the Elohim who brought us out of Egypt. These wicked people are so stubborn and rebellious. Just go and leave me alone, so my fierce anger can blaze against them. For I'm going to destroy them. I've had it with their relentless bitching and complaining. I'll wipe them all out and start again with you, Musha, and make you into a great nation. After generations and generations, 400, 500 years, everything that he started out with Abraham, I will make you the father of many nations. Your people will go into slavery in a land that's not their own. I will bring them out. After all these promises, Yahushua's just ready to go. Pretty much similar to how he felt before the flood. He's ready to just go, I'm going to wipe them out. And I'll start again with you, Musha, since you're the only one who's interested in me, the only one whose heart is beating for me. Wipe out those bastards. I'm going to start again. But Musha, see, now we're going to see the heart that Musha has. Does Musha really need to counsel Yahushua? Does Musha really need to talk Yahushua down from the edge? Talk him out of his bad mood? Is Yahushua just being a moody little princess here? And Musha, the wise one, is talking, counseling him? Or is there a purpose in this? There's always a purpose in Yahushua's behavior, a purpose to bring something good out of whoever he's talking to. He's displayed this sort of behavior, not because he's not angry, he's furious, but he's displayed this sort of anger to Musha to get a certain response. Look, he's going to destroy them. And Musha pleaded with Yahushua, "Oh Father, why are you so angry with your own people, who you yourself delivered from the land of Egypt with great power and such a strong hand? Give them time. They're mad and filled with Egypt still. Do you want the Egyptians to say, 'See, their wicked Elohim rescued them,' just so he could slaughter them at the mountain and wipe them off the face of the earth? Please stop your fierce anger. Change your mind about this terrible disaster you have threatened against your people. Remember your servants, Abraham, Yitzchak, and Jacob, and how you bound yourself with a blood covenant to them, saying, 'I will make your descendants as numerous as the stars of the sky, and I will give them all of this land that I promised to your descendants, and they will live in it forever.'" So he's remembering, he's bringing out the covenant, the promise he'd made with Abraham. So Yahushua calmed down. Musha talked him out of it. So Yahushua calmed down and relented from the terrible disaster he had threatened to bring on Yisrael. And the turquoise here, Yahushua's outburst is not because he's having a temper tantrum, but because he's teaching Musha the importance of being a mediator and taking responsibility for his people. So there's always a lesson, there's always a quality that he's going to bring out of us when something goes down. Then Musha turned and went down the mountain, and he held in his hands the 2 stone tablets of the blood covenant witness, which was the marriage ketubah, the marriage contract written on. They were inscribed on both sides. Did you know they were written on both sides? Front and back. And these were tablets. These tablets were Yahushua's work. And the words on them were written by Yahushua himself. So they're written on both sides. So there were 2 copies, 2 witnesses. You see that? We dealt with this before, but don't be looking for 2 men to arrive on the earth. The 2 witnesses could very well be here already, have been here all along, since Sinai. The 2 witnesses. Or they could be the two, because it's all about Yisrael. Yisrael's written on Yahushua's heart on the breastplate of purity. Remember all the names of Yisrael? The 12 tribes of Yisrael, which broke into 2 houses, 2 witnesses. So, Musha was carrying the tablets. When Joshua, look at good old, faithful, trustworthy Joshua, still sitting there waiting for Musha after 40 days plus. Still sitting there waiting. When Joshua saw Musha approaching, he rejoiced. But then he heard the boisterous noise of the people shouting below them. And he said, "Mate, sounds like something going on in the camp. Sounds like there's war in the camp." Because he was a military man. Joshua was a military man. But Musha replied, "No, it's not the shout of victory nor the wailing of defeat. It is the sound of a great celebration. And when they came near the camp, 𝗓𝗓 saw the calf and the dancing, and he saw red, furious with anger. And he understood what Yahushua's fury was all about now. So he talked Yahushua out of it. And, come on, you're overreacting now, Father. Come on, just settle down. Don't destroy them or the other. But different story when he sees it. When he sees what's going on, he goes into a violent rage. So now 𝗓𝗓 is furious. He can understand what Yahushua's fury was all about. And he threw the stone tablets to the ground, smashing them at the foot of the mountain. Now, in this culture, something that I didn't know, smashing the rocks or smashing the agreement or smashing the covenant, smashing tablets with a covenant written on them, covenant of any sort, meant that the covenant was now null and void. And the people knew this. People would have known this. There's a picture of 𝗓𝗓 who's furious. Yes, his skin would have been darker than that, but I liked the picture, so I put it there. Plus it had the paleo Hebrew symbols on it, like in the Chuck Heston movie. So what's 𝗓𝗓 going to do now? Then 𝗓𝗓 took the calf, the golden calf that they had made, and burnt it in the fire, and grinding it up into a gold powder, he scattered it over the water and forced all the children of Israel to drink it. He forced them to drink gold powder. What's that about? Before I go down to where that arrow is pointing, in the turquoise there, they had just eaten the Passover lamb a month or so ago, 50 days ago. They had just eaten the Passover lamb and were not satisfied. So now they got to eat bull. You don't like it? You eat bull. So, see this red squiggly line here? He forced them all to drink. What's that about? Why did he make them drink water? To drink gold scattered over the water. Forced Israel to drink it. Here, let's follow this line down to here. In Numbers chapter 5, which we haven't got to yet, but there's a thing called the 𝗓𝗓𝗪𝗓. The 𝗓𝗓𝗪𝗓. Drinking dusty water to prove adultery. What's that about? If a husband wanted to accuse his wife of adultery, he had to come before the elders, priests, who have you, and that woman, because if there was no proof, you see, if there's no proof, but he suspected her of being an adulteress, sleeping around, she would have to drink water that had dust ground up in it. I don't think it was gold, but it was dust. Dusty water. They grind up dust and put it in the water, or a substance, or they put it in the water, and the woman had to drink it. And if her thighs rotted away, or if she swelled up in a certain way, that was a sign to the priests that she was guilty. So, an interesting thought here that I gleaned from reading lots of people's take on this. Were the rebel adulterers revealed to 𝗓𝗓 after everyone drank the dusty gold waters? So after he made everyone drink the water, who was responsible for this? Who's in charge? Who were the main ringleaders in doing this? Here you go, drink all this dusty water, this gold-laden water, ground up gold water, and drink it. And the people that were responsible, I believe, through going through this, were revealed. Yahushua's revealed to 𝗓𝗓 who the main ringleaders were. Because it says we're coming to it, but it says 3,000 were killed that day. Is that all? There were 3 million people and they were all idolaters. Why didn't they all get destroyed? The main ringleaders, I believe, were shown up through this process here. Why else would he go to the, if I understand melting it, because he'd fed up with it, get rid of it, but then he ground it up into powder and threw it in their drinking water. You all drink this. And those who, this is my opinion and what I've gleaned from all the different studies, those ringleaders were revealed. Thousands of people who were really responsible for it and got involved in it. So they weren't satisfied with the Passover lamb 50 days ago, so now they got to eat bull. Finally, 𝗓𝗓 turned to Aaron and demanded, "What did these people threaten you with to make you come under them and do such a wicked thing, bringing such filth upon them?" "Calm down, my master, and don't be so angry. You yourself know how evil these people are," dusting under the rug. "They said to me, 'Make us mighty ones who will lead us,' because 𝗓𝗓's buggered off and left us and couldn't be dead. Could be dead for all we know. 𝗓𝗓's buggered off, he could be dead for all we know. So I told them, whoever has gold jewelry, give it over. And when they brought it to me, I simply threw it into the fire. And look, out came this calf. It's not me, it was the fire's fault. What a lame excuse. That's why I brought your attention to what actually happened. You bring it to me. I will get the gold. I will melt it down. I will carve this. I will make this golden calf. He did it himself. Look at the way he explains it. Look at his excuses. I simply threw it into the fire and look, out came this calf. It wasn't my fault. It's the fire's fault. The excuses don't change, do they? It wasn't me. The woman you gave me to eat, the woman you gave me to be with me, gave it to me and I ate it. It's her fault. No, it was the serpent. He tricked me. And Můša saw that Aaron had let the people get completely out of control, much to the amusement of their enemies. So he stood at the entrance to the camp and shouted, "All of you who are on Yahuwah's side, come here and join me." And many of the tribe of ℓ gathered around him, because they were Můša's fellow tribesmen and loyal to him as their tribal leader. Remember all the tribes? Well, ℓ was Můša's tribe. Můša came from the tribe of ℓ, so did Aaron. And Můša told them, "This is what Yahuwah, the Elohim of Yisrael, says. Each of you take your swords and go back and forth from one end of the camp to the other, and kill everyone, even your brothers, friends, and neighbors." And the Lewites obeyed Můša's command, and about 3,000 people were slaughtered that day. Wives and children, brothers, sisters, friends, anybody involved that was revealed to Μούς, who was directly involved with the golden calf worship, were slaughtered. And they weren't just slaughtered by Yahushua, they were slaughtered by these people. The tribe of ℓ had to go and slaughter them. There's significance in that too, about ℓ and bloodshed. Yisrael ate the gold flesh of the bull, but unlike the Passover lamb, instead of deliverance, they got slaughtered, and they were blotted out of the book of life. Eternal destruction, the punishment for idolatry. Glean the behaviours here. Oh, it's all interesting and glean the behaviours, bring it into the 21st century. This is the punishment for idolatry. When the fire blazes across this earth, everyone who's not written, everybody who's caught up in idolatry will be blotted out of the book of life. Eternal destruction. The punishment for idolatry. That, of course, will happen at the great throne judgment. Let's bypass that judgment, guys, and make it to the wedding feast, yeah? Get into the first resurrection. Then Μούς said, this is so relevant, guys. Μούς said to the sons of ℓ, "You guys are now ready to serve and be set apart to Yahuwah now." Why? Because they slaughtered people? "Since each one of you has fought against your own sons and brothers, bringing on you a blessing today. Many of them chose Yahushua over the lives of their own families. They had the sword. They took the sword and they slaughtered 3,000 people. Some of them were their own wives and children, brothers and sisters, family members, friends. They chose to be loyal to Yahushua and obedient over their own families." What did Yahushua say if we follow him would happen? Did Yahushua bring to come peace? Did Yahushua come to bring peace? Or did he come to bring a sword? Division. Father against son, mother against daughter, friend against neighbor, I do not come to bring peace, I come to bring a sword. Division. So that's why these men were now ready to be priests, because aside from their own idolatry, they repented and they went with Μούς. They went Yahushua's way and they were willing to do whatever was necessary. They chose Yahushua over the lives of their own families. Those who are not willing to sacrifice, those who choose mother, father, sister, brother over me are not willing to be my disciples. Scriptures like that. Let all these newer scriptures come to your mind while we go through these things, guys. I'm not pulling all these different scriptures together on the screen, but listen to Yahushua's voice as we go through this. It's all relevant. It's all behaviour for us today. Are you still in there worshipping the golden calf, going along to the Christmas celebrations, even though you don't believe in it, just to keep the family happy? Are you afraid of your family? Are you afraid of what they might say? Are you afraid of being called a religious nut? Oh, you're just in a cult. That's weird. No, it's just a happy family day. We don't go to church. We don't worship Jesus. We don't do any of that crap. It's just giving out some presents and having a meal. It's just a lovely family day. What's wrong with that? Why have you got to be such a weirdo about it for? Why are you always making everything so serious? There's always a problem with you. Oh, what, now we can't give you a birthday present? I gave birth to you, and if I want to honour your birthday, it's all this stuff from families. Do you come under that and listen to that? Or have you run for your life? Not from them, but from the celebrations. And just explain it to them as nicely as you can. It's not personal. They'll take it personally though. But see what I'm saying? You either choose Yahushua or you choose the world, the golden calf, the friends and families. And look what the Levitical priesthood had to do. It wasn't until they had slaughtered 3,000 people that Moshe said, you guys are now ready to serve and be set apart to Yahuwah now, since each one of you has fought against your own sons and brothers, bringing on you a blessing today. So instead of being caught up in bloodshed like the tribe of Louis was, remember? Jacob cursed his son for the slaughtering, revenge on their sister Dinah, the bloodshed. He cursed the tribe of Louis, but now their bloodshed today is bringing a blessing finally. Speaking of Jacob, let's go to this little orange box here, because this is a little interesting thing that gets brought out. When Jacob was on his deathbed and he gave out all the blessings to his sons, one of the things he said to both Louis and Shimeon was, you will be divided from Jacob and scattered throughout Yisrael. It was a curse. You will be divided from Jacob and scattered throughout Yisrael. So I haven't read this for a while, and instead of guessing, let's just go in there and see what it says. These are the harsh prophetic words Jacob spoke over his sons, Shimeon and Louis, on his deathbed. He cursed them for their violent bloodbath in Shechem after their sister Dinah's rape. He told them that they would always be dealing with violence and blood, and here at Mount Sinai, the tribe of Louis' violent nature turns from a curse to a blessing. They are also divided from Jacob, which is Israel, here, when they stand with Moshe and go on a killing spree of 3,000 Israelites. And later on, when Israel enters the promised land, Louis won't be allotted any land, but are instead scattered among all the other tribes. They don't get given land, Louis, because they're the priesthood. They get scattered amongst the other tribes. And that's why the other tribes had to pay money to the temple, the priesthood, the Levitical priesthood. They had to pay money because they weren't getting any. It was to support them because they were in service of the tabernacle. It's also here at Sinai that Louis becomes the official priesthood. Remember, the priesthood was the firstborns. Not that the firstborns had had to do much yet because they've just got to the mountain. But that was Yahushua's plan, to make the firstborns in charge of everybody's firstborns are now mine, and they're going to be in charge of worshipping the service of the tabernacle. But it's here at Sinai that Louis becomes the official priesthood. The ones dealing with blood and killing on a daily basis. Blood and killing on a daily basis. But instead of murderous revenge blood, this time it will be sacrificial blood, and their killing will be for atonement in obedience instead of murderous disobedience. Isn't that fascinating? The process. Those words, that one sentence there, you will be divided from Jacob. My sons, Louis and Shimeon, you will be divided from Jacob and scattered throughout Israel. And he said other things to him too. You're a savage lot, and I can't wait to die so I don't have to look at you anymore. He said things like that, but then he said you'll be divided and scattered among Israel. And 400, 500 years later, look, they are divided from Jacob when they stand with Moshe, separate from Israel. And then after 40 odd years, when they actually do go into the land of Canaan, they don't get any land. They're scattered. The priesthood is scattered. And I've made a note there. Yahushua can use anyone's behaviour. Yahushua can use anyone's behaviour. Look what he's done here. One of the most hideous, those three older brothers, Reuben, Shimon and Lewi, those ratbags, they were pretty much kicked out. There's no blessing for you. And now look, this tribe of Lewi is the Levitical priesthood. The priesthood that is going to usher in the presence of Yahushua himself. So Yahushua can use anyone's behaviour. If they repent, if they're immersed, if they get a down payment of his ruach, his light within them, he can use anybody. Okay guys, so I think we'll finish there because I think it's pretty obvious. Well, I've tried to anyway, bring this golden calf experience into the 21st century. I mean, there are books and books on it. Fossilized Customs is a great book about explaining what has happened about the identity thief, Satan, getting the whole world to worship him through trickery, deception, misdirection. It's one thing for all the witches to say, yeah, we worship Satan. It's another thing for him to get all the goody-goody two-shoes little Christians sitting in their pews to get him. How are we going to get them to worship me as well? In comes Emperor Constantine, and he outlawed any resting on the Shabbat, and he made Sunday the day of worship. You can't close your businesses on the Shabbat day anymore. You've got to worship, close your businesses and come and worship on the Sunday, the day of the sun. Every day of the week is named after a deity, a wicked spirit. Every month of the year is named after a wicked spirit. And now he brought, how am I going to get all these people who are worshipping, they're pagans, how am I going to get all these pagan worshippers into my new religion called Catholicism? How did he do it? He took all the pagan festivals, brought them into the first church because he was the first pope, and then he just changed their names. So instead of it being Saturnalia, he changed it to Christmas. Instead of it being Lupercalia, he changed it into Valentine's Day. Instead of it being Ishtar or Oster, all those things, he changed it. And it's still Easter, but all these festivals that are wicked, pagan, fertility rites that Yahushua hates, they were doing right here. Pagan orgies. I'm not going to go into all the details of all the different festivals, but every feast and festival that the world honours and celebrates today is wicked, and Yahushua hates it. It's all sun worship. It's all zodiac, Mazzaroth worship. Looking at the stars, zodiacs, horoscopes, tea leaves, palm reading, communicating with the dead, tree worship, phallic tree worship, sexuality. Everything is about, so let's look at this as a simple behaviour. When I was a kid, if you're watching television around dinner time, all the ads were wholesome and good. And if there are any movies that they wanted to put on with bad language in them, they'd have to put them on at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. Now they're dropping, it's not about the language, now they're dropping F-bombs at dinner time on the TV, and they are bringing advertising with skimpy bikinis, and if they're wearing one at all, they're bringing nudity and nakedness and sexuality more and more and more into our living rooms. And it's just widely accepted. The older folk will go, oh, that's not how it was in my day. And I'm becoming one of those now too. I find myself saying that to clients too. Back in my day, and I think, gee, I'm talking like an old man. But it's true. The world is deteriorating at such a rapid rate that even somebody like me in their 40s looks back to a simpler time. So that's the way the world's going. So this behavior of sexuality is the golden calf, is the idolatry, because it's all about sexual perversion, drawing your eyes to a certain thing, making you linger there a little bit longer because it's nice, it's sweet, it's sexy, it's attractive, it's alluring. Look at their skin, look at their curves, look at this, look at that, drawing you in. Not just men, women do it too. They do it more on a relationship, fantasy, romantic, imagine this, imagine that. Women are just as caught up in the lust too. It's for everybody, lust. And that's the world we live in. That is the Sodom and Gomorrah, the days of Noah, the spiritual adultery we live in. So it's not just about Christmas and Easter and all those things like that. It's on a daily basis, 24/7, what's being shoved in front of our eyes to make us take our mind and our eyes off Yahushua. And we have to be vigilant and guard this covenant, blood covenant, guard these commands, guard this behavior and say no. Oh, but just no. Ignore it and keep moving forward, brothers and sisters. So let's bring it really close to home. The movies we watch, the television shows we watch, the internet, what we choose to surf on the internet. Oh, it's just the celebrities. It's just that. Is it sexual? You know, in the scriptural times, if a woman showed her knees, she was considered showing too much skin. If she showed, this is why the Muslims wear things over their heads. I don't condone that, but I'm just saying, in scriptural times, the women weren't allowed to show their shoulders. Or too far, they weren't allowed to show their necks, they weren't allowed to show their thighs. That's considered naked. So when the scripture says, or when I've said, don't be involved in nakedness, that's what scripture considers nakedness. Oh, it's just a swimsuit. Yeah, it's nakedness. And at Easter and all these things, oh, we want to go in and we want to do that. Do we get the same pull and draw into the wholesome, set apart feasts? No, we don't, do we? There's no attack on those. So, keep going, brothers and sisters. This has been a long episode, sorry, but it's very relevant because look what Yahushua did. He slaughtered 3,000 people. And on the day of Pentecost, generations later, well, it would have been about 2,000 years later, wouldn't it? If we're only about 2,000 years into the story, then it would have been about 2,000 years later, give or take. He delivered 3,000 people on the day of Pentecost at the Feast of Shavuot. We're at the Feast of Shavuot here. 3,000 were slaughtered for disobedience and 3,000 repented on the day of Pentecost when Peter got up and said, repent, be immersed in the name of Yahushua. Now cut to their hearts, what should we do? Love you guys. It's enough for me. See you later.